start us off here. And remember, I'm playing e6 against everything. So while the French is of course the most common, I mean e4 is the most common first move, I still play it against d4, and we've had lots of games like that. Hey, first time for everything, right? We've never seen this before. So I think that d6 is already a great move to consider here. Very good move. D6 is essentially the move I would play. However, if you played d5, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Like, you would just maybe transpose to the advance, right? But I'll play d6 because, hey, it's what you're supposed to do. I mean, e5 is not a great move. He plays here, and he's already got me concerned. Check. Check. Are you okay, bud? Check. You good, bro? You good? Check here. We don't quite have a mated here. We're playing with the black pieces, so it's a little slower. But we're definitely winning. So I'm looking at knight here, knight here. Both moves look good, because it threatens knight f5 and mate. And if the h-pawn moves, he still gets mated. So I'm looking at this as, I mean, that looks like the move, right, guys? Here, the thing is, I'm looking at other moves and I'm not seeing how he's gonna save himself. d4, it always gets taken after check. Knight h6, unfortunately, guys, looks like it could be a KO. And remember, this check is kind of irrelevant. We just block it, right? If h3, knight check, queen f4 would be mate. Of course, that pawn isn't on d3 in that line. Queen f3, knight there, and that's mate. h4, knight check. King h3 is mate. Everything was mate, right? And then we'll give him check here. King's gonna have to move, and we'll give him mate, and that's a great start. Well, if anyone needed a reminder as to why e5 is absolutely not good, this is the reminder. Here it is. This is the reminder. After king e2, queen e4, my opponent is already busted. Already busted. Nasty. And here we go. e6. Time for the French, and the French has never looked so good. I mean, right? This is the French exchange just on crack here. Like this is so much better. Let's go c6. That's a really effective way of handling that bishop. We just want to get castled ASAP. Try to bring a rook to e8. Okay, so I'm trying to think, how does he want to develop here? And I want to choose the most annoying thing against it. So what I think is that he wants to develop that bishop here. Okay. And then he has to castle because my rook is coming in. Now I'm thinking he wants to lay bishop there. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can sort of slow him down with this move. Queen c7, just try to be annoying. And he's played this, but I think that bishop on c1 is going to be suffering in terms of development. Okay. This bishop is something we can kind of poke and prod. Let's keep developing. a5 I like. Same with knight c5. Yeah, I really like this stuff. So queen e1. d4 is playable, by the way. Hitting that knight. But I'm not exactly sure what we do after that. Thinking of knight c5 and a5. Meanwhile, what is my opponent up to? This doesn't look great because it's pinned, so f5 can never happen. Maybe queen here, f5, and try to sack. I mean, it's a little outlandish, but... Hey, where's my music? Hey. Looks like it just cut out in the set. Like, what? Where'd it go? Just paused. Yeah, I like a5, knight c5, b5, these sort of moves. But you always want to make sure to take into account what your opponent might be thinking. So for example, if he's thinking of this, b4 would win a piece. So that's got me thinking b5. Trying to catch him, maybe, you know, playing a little too risque. Plus, b5 is nice because it supports, you know, the idea of a5, which is great. I think he wants this next. Let's go a5. We want this. If he takes, he's opening that up. Whoa. Giving me a free piece here? What was that all about? Okay. I mean, sure. Definitely did not have to do that. Knight a4 is on my mind, but of course I don't want to allow that. So that's my focus right now. Not allowing that. I'm gonna go queen d8. Knight d4, bishop d7. Still I want to go knight a4. That looks like a good move. Go here so we can play c5 d4. Going to protect that pawn so that this doesn't work. And yeah, once I block that bishop out, which is quite annoying, I think my position is comfortable. I like that move from him. I like it. I think it's good. Let's threaten the bishop. And maybe knight g6 next. It's all about just dealing with that dark squared bishop. The rest of his pieces are not placed in a very dangerous fashion. Okay, probably here. Yeah, now I think the knight comes here, blockade, that knight has nowhere to go. Bishop's kind of blocked out, and let's not forget, I'm up a piece. I'm up a piece. Maybe a4. I like queen e5. Knight b6 appears to be winning another pawn here. Give me that. Give me that. Okay. So we nabbed a pawn there. Now it's a full piece. He doesn't even have an extra pawn for it. Full extra piece. d4. We'd be happy enough with that trade. Just simplifying. Trying to get rid of my weakness. Knight into c3 next. I'm also threatening this pawn. That was friendly. I think we'll go for this. Knight d5 and queen takes f4. That sort of stuff. Queen trade. I spy a queen trade. And this position should be very pre-movable. His king can't enter, so... Even if he plays c3, I think c4 is still the right move. Notice how his king can't enter here, so we're not really giving it the time of day. And again, if I started moving my knight earlier, I don't know, like, it would be possible to maybe mess it up or something. But I like that, you know, because we've done it this way, it doesn't really leave any room for error. We got, got rid of all his pawns. Nice and easy. Push them all forward. And if it's all with, I always like to get the knight the hell out of trouble, so just bring it away. Queen your pawn. And to be proper, we'll do like this, so that there's no chance of stalemate. And I mean, it's all with pre-moves, so I've essentially chosen a pre-move path where nothing could have gone wrong. Wasn't the most effective. It wasn't the most efficient. Maybe it was the most effective. But right here, I think a lot of people would take a different approach to win this. Okay, you only have 6 seconds, so you got to be careful. But once you sort of notice that the king can't infiltrate in either direction, and there's no like g5 pawn push where you're gonna have to react to it, nothing like that. Right? All he can do is push a pawn into nothing, can never go here. His only entry is this way. So here, that's why I started just bringing my king up. Right? And now I know, again, the only entry is here. It just makes my life way easier. Whereas, you could see someone here go like knight here, right? Knight here, going to take that pawn. But then all of a sudden, this stuff happened, and this is not clean. All of a sudden, there's no way I'm doing this with perfect pre-move, so I'm probably down to like 2 seconds already. So I'm just saying there's some efficiency to be had with the final stage of the game. I do it for you guys. Oh, we're playing against an Albanian. We're playing against an Albanian, and we get the French exchange. What else? What else? All right, after knight there, I'm gonna play c6 and go for this very, very standard setup. Nice and simple. If bishop d3, which is more desirable, I'm hitting him with a check. Let's start with h6, little oil check here. See what he's up to. If g5, bishop g3, he's kind of okay there, so. We want knight d7, and I mean, this pawn structure against the knight on c3 is just good. It really is. Oh! Oh, buddy. Oh, geez. And I almost pre-moved knight d7, but I didn't. I held back. I held back. You saw me. I was about to drop that thing, but no. I did not drop it on d7. Queen d2. Okay. Let's ask the chat. Not what would you do here if you were me, but what would you do if it were you? Not what would you do if it were me. It's easy to be like, oh, of course I'd give him a take back, bro. If it's not your game. What would you do if it was you? It was your rating points and you were playing a random person. Would you guys take the rook on f1 and move on? Would anyone offer a draw? And I would say anyone who says yes to this question, the subset of that is how many liars are there? 90%? I am definitely in the bishop takes f1 camp, strongly. I'm a big bishop takes f1 kind of guy. And after knight takes, rook takes e2, it's possible he loses even more material. Bishop a5 is available, but he's going to resign there, and, well, that's off the back of a mouse slip. But we take those. Okay. With the black pieces, we are playing the French. White, we start with c4, but black, we play the French. Wow. It took all the way up to, 17, 1800, but here we go. We're seeing win hour, which is not the most common. I have been showing you guys this knight e7 move. Instead of c5, c5 is the main line. I've been showing you this knight e7 and bishop a6 idea, which I think is really comfortable. The idea is to trade the light squared bishop as soon as possible. Like, get that thing off the board, basically. And then play on the light squares. Queen d7, h5, knight f5. h5 to control the g4 square, so I can play knight to f5. And we have an option here. Knight f5 straight away does look fine. I think we'll do that. We can take this way, swing the knight to e6 like a blockade. But bishop a3, it might be hard to get my king to safety. That's one thing. That's one thing. And then the other way is like this, where it's not necessarily the plan to do that. So I'm gonna choose this one. This one looks spicier. Knight to d8. Also, I think I'm gonna bring out the set. It's a strong one. Okay, he didn't play bishop a3, guys. I'm gonna take this as a sign that I should be castling. Now, c4 can't happen, so I think I'm buying time for knight d8 and knight e6. I have a feeling he's really interested in that. Okay, c5 is an idea. But how can we not play this? I mean, it only makes sense. got our knight to the desired square. C5 now. And I'd actually like to play C4. I know it looks weird, but C4, take that. Play on the light squares. Still C4. Rook B8. I'm hitting the A pawn. I like C4 next. Queen B5. Queen C7 and queen takes B5 is another idea. But I'm feeling like queen takes B5 is not good enough. Hey, Bucko Bonsai. What's the one just lower than purple, Bucko? I think I was that one. I was that one for sure. Rook B8 has to be the move here. Queen to A6 helps us even more for doubling. And my next idea, I believe, is C4. Use the B file, Queen C6. Queen back, and then C4. I wonder what he's thinking about, because Queen D3 only helps me, and Queen A6 only helps me. So anything but Queen E2 I'd be happy to see. Yeah. Double up. Queen C6. And if he takes, I think pawn takes might be the one to do. All right, what do we think of this position? Queen C4, right? Everything's nice and solid here. A pawn attack, so either A5 or rook over. And our knight has done a tremendous job, but I think it's time to reroute it. For the moment though, he's offering me this pawn. Rook there. If queen here, he wants to take, I get that. But if queen all the way back to B7, then rook A3 to hit the pawn, then queen B7. I feel like we're kind of just hanging on. Just hanging on. His bishop feels quite useless, honestly. I am a pawn grabber. I'll admit that. I am a filthy pawn grabber. Took on A4. We'll slide over here. Queen takes A1, I don't think was winning, no. B2, queen B1, and the next move for white is bishop C1. And then I can't trust that position to be winning, I think. All right, what are we gonna do with this knight? That's the question. Let's start simple. Play A6. Then queen B5. And you see how we're slowly gonna get this pawn up to support that. And then we can reroute our pieces. Rook C8, queen C6, or queen C4. And the nice thing is if he ever moves his queen, B2 is just like, you know, pre-move, basically. It would be good practice to pre-move B2 here, you know? So if he ever moved his queen, B2 would happen. There we go. Okay, well, that was a massive achievement. Now this is protected, so these two pieces, they don't need to be there, right? Now we can switch to this pawn. You know, maybe queen d3. Knight wants to move now. I'm sure that takes and rook c2 is also completely winning here. I think knight d4 is the move now. I mean, it was good before, but probably now it's like 100% convincing. Before, the king was on e1 guarding the bishop. Now it's like, okay, you know, we understand. This is the kind of game that you really dream of when you start out against this French. I know it took a while to get there, but essentially the idea of this opening is don't commit too early with c5, trade light squared bishops no matter what circumstances, and play on the light squares. Now it takes some practice for sure to get good at playing positionally, but knight always wanted to be there. We never really wanted to play d4, right? Because I want my pawns kind of on light squares. So this was always my goal. And he was never like trying to attack me in any way, never tried to do anything. That was great. If he did, maybe it would be trickier, but instead he just played on this side of the board and yeah. Now a6, queen b5. We slowly improved the position like this, and now an eventual knight takes d4 will be winning. Ooh, another Albanian opponent. Let's play the French. Hey, we're starting to get the win hour a little bit more. I mean, it's a very popular opening, but you don't see it too much at the lower elos. I'll do this. Bishop g4 was another way to do it, another way to play. Some would say the bishop takes h2 is a threat. Some would say. Maybe he's including himself there. Okay, so bishop g6 perhaps looks like the move we need here, because this move's gonna happen, and you know then we won't be able to do it. So yeah, we'll do it now. Knight d7. Got to take with the knight. Take control of those squares. Position's around even. I can't go queen b4 because of the knight, otherwise it would be a nice double attack. What options do I have here? All right. Well, let's do something. Let's move a pawn. Let's get shaken here. A3. Then I'm going to start to say hello to c4. Yes, yes. And this knight can go to d7 to take care of those squares. So just with this little A-pawn maneuver, would you look at that, right? It was dead even. Maybe I even prefer white because he's got this nice pawn there, right? But it's dead even. I'm like, man, I got nothing to do here. And all I did was push this A-pawn, and it just totally collapsed his position. He's dead now. Knight here, maybe rook d2. I have to deal with knight e5 there, but should be good. Let's go back. Knight here, then rook e3. Yeah, you know, it's always interesting, right? If he had spent some time thinking here, maybe he would have played rook e1. Well, suddenly he's not losing a piece. Instead, he made this move in 1 second, and then he's thinking for 4 minutes now, you know? It just ain't adding up. Always think when you have a dead loss position. That's when your chances are the highest. Hey, Chulam. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. This is exactly the kind of person where, because I know he hasn't disconnected, that's the thing. If he disconnected, then it would abandon. So I know he hasn't disconnected. I know he's right there. Those are the kind of people I add time to, you know? Okay, black pieces, which means time for e6. And d5. This is pretty much the opening I've been playing. I just think e6, d5, knight f6, bishop e7, and castle will get you out of the opening. Like, super safe every time, you know? Don't gotta worry about nothing. All right, let's castle. If e5, I'll eventually go for c5, knight c6. And I feel like the counterplay against the center could be tough to handle. Let's go here. He's giving me another option of actually starting by taking, but I don't think we want to get in the business of doing that. Also, remember, any type of thing like this doesn't work because I've got g5 controlled. We've already won a piece. What a great opening this is. This opening is so simple. Oh, he doesn't even take on h7. He's just gonna give me the piece straight up. Okay, bishop a6. Goes here. I know this move looks tempting, but okay, b3 happens. I actually am looking at taking queen e4, queen d5. And if he takes, then, you know, we make some real immediate threats here. Now, solely because I'm up material and I want to play knight c6, I think I'm going to take this. Like queen d5. I would not make that exchange if I was like even material, by the way. But because I'm up material, you know, this is just so simple. Everybody pile pressure on the d-pawn. We'll play rook c8. Make sure to play h6, escape square. And then there should be some good stuff for us. Some tactics or some simplification available. h6 is a good move to play early though. I'm not even gonna calculate other stuff until I've done it. This feels like the good thing to do. Okay, whether I double here or here, I'm not sure yet, honestly, but it's ready to go. Okay, I think we'll do this one. What do you guys think of the position? What do you guys think of the opening? Pretty successful, yeah? All the pressure here. I still can't quite take it. but I'm damn close, right? This pawn and this pawn now are loose. Okay, so he's gonna protect that. Understandable. Take this. Again, any simplification is very appreciated here. That comes with a rather straightforward threat. We'll come back here. Knight f5 continues the pressure. Knight d5 is a fantastic outpost. But again, you know, I can say stuff here, but let's be honest, guys. I'm just up a piece, right? I've just got a full extra bishop, so this game doesn't really showcase like too much for us to you know, like we can't implement too much here from this. Might be some knight h2. I'm thinking about bishop to g5. Kind of looks like a nice place to start. Hit the rook. I know he doesn't want to ever trade with me, so the rook will move. And then let's see what we can do. I'm looking at knight d5, knight f4. Looks like a really good start. Knight d5, hit the queen. Right, and then next move, knight f4, hit the rook. We've got a pin here, so it can't be taken. Queen needs a safe space here to move, and I'm not sure there will be one. Bishop's covering d2. So queen e1. If knight here, the rook has to guard that. If rook e3, there's knight h3. But he has rook c3. And I haven't yet determined a very good way to proceed after that. I mean, it's like a good position, but I don't see the immediate win there. So I don't think I'm going to calculate that much more. I'm going to go for h5. Maybe h4 coming. Okay. Now we move our queen. I guess f5 looks pretty reasonable. Okay, surprisingly, I think I probably actually want to see that. So we'll bring our bishop back, threaten that pawn. Now this king, though, is even more exposed. So there might be some tricks, like taking on d4, even losing a piece there, but pinning somehow along the way. So let's take the free pawn, because it's offered. Knight h4, queen g4. I'm a sucker for a free pawn. What can I say? Now knight takes f4 is a big time threat. And king g2 made it a bigger time threat. Bigger timer threater. Yeah, now it's very over, unfortunately, from my opponent. And is this like, you know, little finesse move to throw in? It feels like this is a good move. We don't quite have a mate, but we can take and take. And I prefer the king on this square. Bishop c5 is coming and all sorts of bad stuff. Maybe this first. Knight f3. Actually, rook takes d4 we're going to play. Because if the bishop is on this diagonal, it's essentially checkmate. Right? His only move would be queen there, and we'll be able to finish off the game pretty smoothly. All right, so rook d1, very tempting, right? But after pawn takes, okay, there's something to be said. There is queen g3 there and queen f3, which wins, but I think the actual best move here is rook d2, which threatens checkmate on g2. Rook d2 check, pawn takes bishop, which was checking in, and then that'll be mate. But obviously, if you did rook d1 here, you wouldn't be making a mistake, right? But yeah, we'll give this check. Queen here is mate. And then all these other moves was mate there. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. One swishin', thanks for the 25 months, buddy. Yeah, so I mean, again, I wish I could give some more insight here, but what I can say is this opening is so simple and so successful. Entice this move and then go for the center. Okay, I played c5, and here I'm one move away from playing cd4, playing knight c6. The center looks like it's gonna collapse. I'm not worried about this because I'm controlling g5, which is the only danger square for a knight and a queen. So there's just no threats. If someone plays h4, then I might be like, okay, pawn takes, bishop h7, right? And I can see this being scary. So usually, I would say for the most part, after this, if you see h4, playing h6 is just a+ response. And if you're ever faced with knight g5, you often don't have to take it. You don't have to do anything. You can trade the actual piece for it and keep the h-file closed, or you just do nothing. Knight g5 doesn't threaten anything. Just focus on undermining that center. So anyway, the opening was just massively successful. He hung a piece, not much to do. I think the game was just over from there. So we won't talk about this like we can teach everybody how to be a 2000 from this game, because it's not the best example. Okay, we might get a French here. Knight f3 perhaps. He's 1680, so knight f3 is a more likely chance than d4, right? Or perhaps no move is more likely. Wow, f4. Interesting. He's a thinker. What can we say? He's spending his time the way you guys should be spending your time when you're playing. Okay, let's go c5. So I'll play it like, I would say more or less like a normal French for the moment. Bishop b5 check. When you play the French, you should know your bishop on c8 is a bad piece, objectively bad. We are always up for trading it. Sometimes that's our main plan. Like, we actually spend time, concentrated effort to go and trade that piece. Here, it's like, wait, what? You're letting me do that for free? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, welcome to the world of knight h6. Whenever I see f4, very high likelihood that I'm playing the move knight h6 because it blocks the bishop from hitting it. And knight e7 also gets me to f5, but I like the flexibility of not blocking my bishop. For example, if I play knight e7, someone plays d4, I might be worried about pawn takes. So I have to play knight f5 right away. And knight f5 is not a bad move, but I don't want to be forced to do it. I'd rather go here and say, if I want to play knight d5 or knight f5 truly, I can do it. But I can also play knight c6, right? I'm not forced into knight f5, which is nice. Flexibility is usually a good thing. Let's go here. Knight seems to be chilling, as they say. Okay, so if I see knight a3, I'll often throw this move in. Just not necessarily because I want to take it, by the way, so don't confuse that. It's not like I always want to take. Yes, it might ruin their pawns, but I'm giving me dark squares. So you don't always want to make that trade. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But I always want to do this because when the knight's not on b1, I know it can't go to c3. And what I don't want is to take and have him be able to play this. Now, at some point I might have to do it, but for the most part, I'm going to try to wait. Wait and make him play a move. Like knight d2, I love to take, right? That's great. He took with the knight, which is certainly not what I was expecting. I think we'll take because I want to play knight f5. I want to play knight f5. Let's do it. I'm actually threatening knight takes d4 there. Bishop c5 with a pin. As for this, I'm getting the vibe that I can put a lot of pressure on this position. But how? Queen here, there's b3. Queen c6. There's rook f2. And knight e3, to be honest with you. So I feel like we're close, but not quite there. Rook takes c2 is, I mean, very tempting. Knight takes d4. But I don't really, you know, if we're being honest here, rook takes c2 is not technically working. It isn't. Let's play h5. Nice stabilizing move. He played a3, which tells me immediately that our queen a4 move that was previously not good because of b3 should now be fantastic. Should now be really, really good. Okay, so a couple ideas. Queen takes d4 is above and beyond the best, though. Queen here, there might be some rook takes c1, but it's messy, and there's a rook c8. I wouldn't want to deal with it, so we'll win our pawn, and we'll be pretty happy about it. Huh. Interesting. Take that. Let's go bishop here. Try to stop the pieces from developing really easily. And okay, it's always good to set up a nice little checkmate. If he plays h3, I've got knight g3. If he doesn't play h3, hey, guess what? I've got knight g3. That's the whole point. So he comes up with a good move. It's not going to fully save him, but still a reasonable try. So he should take and go h3, and he does. Let's connect our rooks. Bishop down to f2 after knight e2, or even if not. Let's actually go here. I'm thinking bishop here, rook c2, bishop c3. Little rook takes h3 for the people. Don't mind if I do. Oh yeah. Unfortunately for my dear friend here, we had that one planned out a mile away. A little spicy one. Orwell86, thanks for the 21 months. And Randy Magnum64, thanks Randy for the 5. 5 months from Randy. We got some new people here, so I didn't want to go all out. All right. If I was going all out, I'll just give you a sneak peek of something that could be coming to a theater near you. But we have some new people here. I didn't want to scare them away from the channel. Do you guys understand? You know, this is playing with your food, and I didn't want to do it too early. I was thinking, you know what? We'll just ease these people into the channel. They just want to see some good high quality chess. But this was possible. It was possible. Really important to remember, guys, whenever you have a rating close to 69, chess.com actually does something. They always give you an opponent that gives you 9 points for beating them if you're 9 points away. If you're 7 points away, they'll give you an option to win and gain 7 points. They'll always end you at 69. Right here, we're 1860. We look at our opponent, a little bit higher rated. 9 points for a win here. I'm not making this stuff up. I don't make the rules. Playing the French. Going for c5, right? I mentioned before that I do like the move knight h6, so I'm going to stick with that. d3. Okay, so there's not going to be any like bishop b5 happening or anything like that. Let's go knight c6. I am the underdog in this match. That is 100% correct. Knight f5. Now, the thing is, I'm playing bishop here and rook here. These are French moves, typical, but I'm doing them to show that you can just kind of play your usual stuff, right? And the setup you get will be pretty reliable. Okay, I'm thinking of h5. It's usually the move that comes to mind. When you see g4, think h5. Because you want to see this move. You just lock it up and play on the queen side. You also don't mind seeing this because, hey, open h file. Not really gonna complain, are we? So I'm thinking h5, but I want to make sure that we're getting the position we want here. I might start by taking on f3. Start by taking, get rid of that knight. h5. h3 is a reasonable move, but you know, the fact that I get to use an h file is nice. And this is what I'm talking about. Moves like that, instant g6. Now everything from this side is completely dead, which means my king is gonna be really safe over here, and I can focus all my attention on the other side of the board. We love to see that move. Yes, we do. We love to see it. I think he wants to do this. Let's just go nice and chill. Bishop e7, castling. Okay, idea b4. Looks strong enough that I might consider a5. All right, c4. Now it's locked up, but I prefer the kind of locked up that it is for me. I think it's the good kind. I am going to respect the sacrifice here and play rook there. I know it looks funny, but I wasn't planning to necessarily castle, so we got a great French here, don't we, guys? This bishop is not too proud, but I've got this idea happening. I'm feeling okay here. Wow. This guy's coming for me here. All right, I respect you. I respect you. Queen h7, rook f8, and the other thing I'm paying attention to is that I can run my king, so I never feel like I'm completely hooped here. So I'm gonna go rook here. Curious which pawn move he's got coming next, or if he's just gonna slowly take it. All right, but I'm probably gonna go with my plan here of running my king. Time to get my king the heck out of there. He didn't want to endure that position. I don't blame him. You know, this is an active way to play, but, you know, at some point, you know, the bell's gonna ring and you're gonna be down material. That looks like the right way to do it, though. F5. Let's see. Do we want to allow F6? I'm feeling like the answer is no. Yeah, I don't think we want to allow F6. So let's take. And then I think we'll move our king after we take. So allowing knight takes bishop. I think this is the lesser of all the possible bad things that could happen. Takes. Rook takes F7, sure, but then my pieces start to move around a little bit. Remember, he's got all dark square pawns for the most part. I don't think that's gonna be changing anytime soon. Bishop E6 is like solid. Knight D6. Man, he's coming straight for the throat here. Straight for the throat. I'm actually considering this. So first move I want to look at is Rook H8, followed by Rook F8, and I'm actually almost sold on that. I think I'm gonna do it. Rook here. Try to use our pieces. What I really want is the queens to disappear. Almost at any cost. If the queens disappear here, I feel like we have a chance. Let's attack the queen. Probably attack it again. Hey, I'm no rocket scientist. Let's just keep smacking that queen a little bit. If he goes here, I might do one more Rook F8 move, but I don't think I'll repeat. Okay, he goes back. Knight E5 kind of looks like the move. Queen takes E3. You know, Knight G4 coming. Knight completely hanging now. Just wanted to get my rooks over here. You know, my rook on the C8 square, you know, could have been taken, but then the queens would have been removed from the board. I don't think he really fancied that. Nice. Okay, kind of an obvious threat. I've got that extra bishop, and it's only for one pawn now, so... I'm hoping that this is enough. Bishop has to get involved, though, or else, you know, it's not too impressive. Start with a few of these. I want to try to win, right? Of course. I'm trying. Maybe here? We're gonna have to do this pre-move. Followed by this one. And we run the king to a4. That's going to be our escape route. He has to leave the rook there. There we go. This is going to work out. I believe in it. Oh yeah, once the king starts shuffling, no stopping us. No stopping us. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We can hide in front of our pawns there. We got a nice little shelter, little enclave. And he's the one who flagged. Fair enough. Hey, I liked his attempt here. I do not think that it was good for him, but I love the energy behind it. Like he went here. I should have done something to maybe prevent it. I don't really know what, but yeah. Once this happened, I was actually feeling pretty good. And even knight takes e5 maybe could have been played right away as an option. That's an idea too. But yeah, knight takes e5, many moves was probably good. Especially good here, actually. But we eventually played it and still think this was pretty decent. Rating check, yeah, 1869. What did I say, guys? You will always be allowed to hit the 69 mark. Chess.com knows. They know. They want to give you that number. Strong man from the north. Thanks for the 5-month resub. Tim in Philly, 37 months with Twitch Prime. Tim. Another great decision, my friend. Another great decision. No losses to get 69 land beyond. Otherwise, people would be losing on purpose. Can't encourage that. Living the dream. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. We're moving up the ranks, getting dangerously close to 1900. Speaking of dangerous, this might be our new highest rating we faced. 1984. And we're gonna get a French. I was gonna say, at the higher elos, you'll see knight d2, but we've basically never seen knight d2. I've played against this probably like once or twice this entire speed run. We've simply not seen it. Okay, knight f3. I think we'll take here. This is essentially the main line. Queen back is one move. I actually kind of like the move queen d7. It looks like, why on earth would I put my queen there? But the point is to play a6 and b5, basically. And put the bishop here. Why not play b5 straight away? I don't think I could. b5, knight e5. I think I would lose that pawn, or maybe lose the d pawn. I'm not sure. b5 straight away looks very risky. Let's take here. A6 is not a bad move, so I guess it's also the case that I'm not playing a terrible move to play b5. I'm playing a relatively useful one. Like, a6 is good. It's nice enough, you know? b5 here. Also just knight f6, bishop b7. I want to make sure we don't play this too early. This almost feels slightly premature. Let's go here. Slightly. I mean, b5 is a good move. It's going to be part of our position no matter what, but I'll do a little bit of that development stuff first. Now I think it makes a bit more sense. Everything is nice with tempo here. And I think the queen here is a little bit better than d8. Nothing crazy, but feels like it. Okay. More things to think about. Rook e1 coming. Yeah, I think bishop b7 can be played here. You know, always getting concerned about rook there, castle, and then something like, I don't know, rook takes e6, right? Want to make sure you're not getting hit with the extra special. But I think we have knight e4. That's what I'm counting on, at least. Looking at this and this. The other way we could do it is just castle straight away, but let's enter the dragon. Play bishop here. Bit dicey. What about this? Why do I feel like this can be played? This looks playable. Bishop d5. Bishop f6. Okay, maybe gf6. I don't know if that's necessary, but bishop f6, right? This is the move we want to do. I guess knight d5 is the safer move, but I mean, this is absolutely the move I want to do. And takes. I don't know, I'm just not seeing a problem with bishop takes. Bishop d5 looks like it gets rid of all the danger stuff in the position, all the takes e6s of the world. Bishop is hanging, by the way. Worth noting. Here, knight takes e6, queen takes d1, and all these double checks. I just moved my king. Yeah, see, funny enough, I feel like he didn't notice this. There's knight takes e6, but it's very, very hard for me to get behind that. So I guess we'll just, we'll do it, and hey, if it works, it works. I mean, credit to him. Oh, that's not the one. Why not knight there? Buddy! Why not at least knight takes e6? I mean, I don't think it was working, but looked tricky. I was probably going to go rook a7. I think he missed that the bishop was hanging, because if he planned to like have the bishop hang, he would have taken on e6. Right? He would have just done it. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that like this is just good for black. I'm up a full piece before he sacked. Now I'm up 2 pieces, right? I can play rook a7 and give up this rook and still be good. Queen c5 protects. Some knight move like knight d7 also looks reasonable. Rook here, rook here. The problem is he only has 3 pieces, right? So if I just put everything around my king, like Like I'm wrapping a kid in a, you know, winter jacket or something. Right? It's like, you're never gonna get cold. There's only so many things that can happen. You have that puffy coat on, nothing can happen to you. Safety proof. This wasn't a very long game. The move that I thought he would do was knight f5 after bishop d5. But if he didn't do... So I think I had the right instinct not to play b5 immediately, although it's not a bad move. But here, we could castle, play queen c7, bishop d7. So another very easy way to develop. The bishop on c8 also means there's no tricks, right? e6 is protected. Hey, Tim Fish. 18 months from Tim and Bequadro. 29-month resub. Spoken like a true Canadian. Yeah, I only got snow references. But this is I would say, very main line. Probably a worthwhile game to look at. Right? This is the, you know, very main line of the Tarrasch. And as the ratings get higher, I think we're going to see way more of this. Way more. Best paper. We're going to see another Tarrasch here. This is the point where I think the two main moves you see are this. Under 1500, you only see this and this. Play bishop b4. Gonna play the same line that we have been playing, which is knight e7, not c5, but knight e7. Take the knight. e6. Again, not c5. Bishop a6. Oh, played that quick. And these are the target squares now. I want to get my knights to those squares. Okay. Take control of the g4 square. See, I've carved out these squares for myself. Queen d7. I want my queen here, or preferably a4, actually, where it blocks the pawn, supports c4, hits c2. This knight's gonna plant itself on f5, and away we go. And again, make sure to play this move g6 to not allow f5. You see how difficult it is for him to play f5, right? h3, g4, I mean, just like maybe loses a knight. Knight f5 is... I've got f5 very well defended now. I suspect he might be interested in this move, so I think I'll go ahead and prevent that. Castling this way is actually kind of a safe haven for me. I know it looks dangerous with an open file, but you gotta understand that rook can barely even use the open file. King d7 even might be a decent idea. Okay, let's castle. Knight g5, I'll just defend the weakness. Might stash this king over on a7 here. Yeah, I can take back with the knight, but to be honest, taking back with the pawn also looks pretty damn good. Okay, let's take this. No matter which knight he takes, the other one's coming here. So I'm making sure to always keep a knight on that square. I've abandoned my post on f5, but to be honest, I like c4 better. Okay, now my plan should probably be c5, but I'm gonna need to build that up. That's not just going to appear on the board. Again, this doesn't look right. I'm going to lose my my knight here if I'm not careful. Let's get out of this pin. C5 takes, rook takes. The bishop does reach the d4 square, so I'm trying to think, you know, do I actually want that? Do I want to allow that? I think what I might do is go like this, this, and then maybe try c5 and take with the pawn. Knight e3 and knight c2 appears like it wins material, but then I start to look at queen back to d1, pinning my own knight to my queen. I don't really have a way out other than b5. And then, I don't know, that position just looks a little messy. Like it does look like it might work, but I start to question it. So I'm going to go here. I'm actually not sure if that's good for him. I mean, first of all, I can play queen c6, so I'm not obligated to take that. But if I take, right, pawn takes, so he wants to take my queen. The reason why I'm not sure if it's good for him is, I mean, his bishop is really bad. So I'm actually intentionally going to do this. I could take and bring my king and go rook a8, which I like. I like that idea. But I think b5 and getting a pass pawn that I support with my rook, I think that's game over. This bishop is so bad. Truly. So bad. So I'm going to play here. I'm going to try to push this pawn as far as I can. And with rook on a8, I feel like essentially he's playing the game down material. I don't know if this is necessary, but I'm going to play rook e8 to stop the bishop from getting there. I don't think I really care, but I'll just do that. Okay, now we put the rook there, so the queen is fully stuck, right? Cannot move. Nothing the queen... Yeah, basically the queen is 100% stuck there. Now I got to think how I want to... Like, how can I break through, essentially? How can we break through here? If the queen ever moves, even an inch, a2. Right, immediately a2. If he opens the position, I mean, he's just dead, like immediately loses. So I know he can't do that. Okay. Okay, but now I guarantee to open something up with f6. His most powerful piece is, you know, what is it? Watching my pawn? It's embarrassing. If bishop d2, knight takes, I'm assuming you mean more when the king's there. Takes, pawn takes, f4 falls, so you gotta take this way, and guess what? That open file. I mean, you're too kind. You're too kind. Check. Notice how the knight also defends the pawn, so I don't even need my rook here. can play here, give me one check, but that's about it. After rook here, you're going to be mated. But you get the feeling that my opponent's bishop didn't do a single thing the whole game. This knight has been a monster start to finish. It's been all about the light squares. You're just seeing like a pure positional domination. At least he got a check, yeah. He got one check. Maybe he'll go for two. If this was 3-check chess, he would still be losing. Best paper. Best paper. It's not working out well for him. We went on time. GG. Good game to best paper. We're not quite there, are we? We haven't completed the journey yet. 1900 is around the corner, but we still need to turn the corner. We made it to the end of another video on the French defense. I hope you learned something. Leave a comment down below. What did you think was the most important thing to remember from this video? Subscribe if you haven't already, and a reminder to click that bell to turn on post notifications so you don't miss our next video.